this morning. This one's just, I was going to say, that's what I wanted to talk about. Like every bench I've passed has had someone down on it, and that's what I spoke about this morning, is the positioning that they put themselves in. There's the hand rubbing again that they've been told to do. So the one that walked past me with the red scarf, he was positioned in the first bench down there. But as soon as they saw me get my camera out, she started walking off. Hopefully I managed to get her with her red scarf on. And this next bench that we're coming up to, it was a kind of posh, a guy and what looked like his son sat on it, like a kind of well-to-do kind of pair. They're obviously not going to want to get themselves on camera. And they've probably exited this bench because they think that they can try and force you into a position. They want to try and kind of force your movement, whatever it is, wherever it is that you go. So they'll exited this thinking that I'm just going to jump on there, so then they can position where it is that I speak, where it is that I sit. But they do that all the time. They'll do it in like supermarkets and stuff. They'll put like loads of people down an aisle to try and control your movements at every turn, because they think that you'll avoid the kind of busy aisles, you know. What you should do is do the complete opposite to what it is that you used to do, because that kind of fucks up their little plan, isn't it? They're trying to grow a kind of algorithm on you. What actions is it that you'll take in every situation, and they try and predict those actions, you know, constant, like as close as it is to where they'll get. But what you need to do is stop them being able to predict those actions by taking the actions that you wouldn't normally take, because that annoys them. See, she just left the bench, like I said, up there, and now she's made sure she's positioned herself at this bench, because that was exited. They have to have one of their own at every position all the time. Like I showed this morning with the Wi-Fi network, they're moving around constantly. This is bouncing off loads of them. This isn't just one person, you know, like one handler with a little Stingray or a computer walking around in his backpack, like a Wi-Fi pickup. This is pretty much everybody, you know. They're all pretty much, everything you see now is just fakery. It's just they've been told to act that way and behave that way. And, you know, it's a Thursday afternoon, and none of these people, grown adults, are at work in any way. What I was also thinking earlier was I was wearing earplugs. I wear earplugs quite a lot. And they know when I go outside walking with earplugs, they'll try and walk past me and make noise. And it's like they're obviously getting a live kind of feed through my ears, and they want to see what effect it is that the earplugs are having. You know, what kind of level of speech they'll have. So they'll usually be on their phone, because their level of speech is also, or noise that they're making, whatever it is they do, whether they walk past you whistling or coughing or whatever, they want to get a sound record on that to know what your level of hearing is. Because they know that you're wearing earplugs, so they need to kind of up the ante when it comes to the sound to make sure that they're heard in your recording. That's why you'll get them quite often. They'll be desperate, you know, they're little pick-me's, little fucking desperates, and they're dying for a part in your show, you know, so they'll kind of ramp up the volume just to make sure that they're heard. So I believe it's kind of a test when they set off with the earplugs, you know, just to understand what kind of level of blockage, what it is that you is having, you know. It's all about control. And see, I don't know if you heard that, he just made a big as I walked past him with the white hat sitting on the bench. I'm not going to bother turning around and filming them, because that's exactly what they like, is to get a little shot in it, a little spot in it. Not the kind of more upper kind of echelons are the ones that are involved in this. That's why you'll see my camera going mad at times, because they desperately want to avoid being seen, you know. They can't have you knowing who they are. It really fucking worries them, you know, that might possibly happen. But all these dicks that are just walking around, you know, like I said, Thursday afternoon, lots of adults with no jobs, you know. I don't know about you, but I kind of grew up throughout the 80s and the 90s, and there was no one, when I was off school, whether it be dogging school or just on holiday, there was barely anybody. You see how she's got her phone positioned? She just wants to make sure that I know that she's filming me as she went past me there, with her phone pointed right at me. Try to get a kind of side view. They need you from all angles, you know. Well, like I said, I was saying, yeah, when I grew up, there was nobody off work, you know. All the dads were at work, and it was kind of getting to that point in time, you know, the 80s, that a lot of the mums were at work. They'd been encouraged into work, obviously, to kind of break apart the kind of nuclear family, you know. They didn't want loving mums at home cooking for and looking after their kids. They wanted to kind of, that was this, well, it's not the start of the destruction, but it was just a part of the destruction. But yeah, keep a lookout for them. It's all about control. Keep a look where they position themselves. They done it to me on the train the other day. I got on the train and obviously one of them had fed back where I was stood in the platform, so they know what number box of the train, what carriage, sorry, I'm getting in. So then they position their people on the train accordingly, you know, they're little actors, and you might think it looks odd. You would think, well, that would look odd to other members of the public, but I don't think there's that many people that don't know what's happening, to be honest. You know, so they're not gonna express any oddness about it. But yeah, sorry, I got in the carriage that they'd kind of made up their little mock-up, their little setup while I was waiting for the train at the platform. And there was a guy with his legs out, there was a woman stood in front of me, there was people sat down, and there was available seats next to the guy with his leg out. To pass him, there were seats the other side of him, but I'd need to step over my leg, you know, and I've got a big stupid boot on just now with my broken bone. So ordinarily I wouldn't, or I would have sat in the first seat, but I didn't, because I want to break the norm, you know. I don't want to take the decisions and take the actions that I've always done at all time. I want to kind of break that. You okay? Yeah? Yeah, you're having a very good stare at me. I want to break that kind of approach. He's trying to put me off, that's what it is, because I'm talking sense. Or just wants to show me his orange lanyard to flash that orange Freemason shit in my face. Dirty old bastard. Yeah, so where I would have ordinarily sat down, there was a guy sat opposite, but I never stepped across the guy's leg and sat somewhere else. And I looked over to the guy that I would have been sat opposite had I taken the decision that I ordinarily would take. And there was a guy sat there and he had a body cam on his chest, plus he had two phones. One was pointed directly towards where it was that I would have been sitting had I made my, you know, snap decision that I ordinarily would think I'm going to make, and another phone in his hand doing something, you know. So just look out for that, you know. Take the decisions that you wouldn't normally take, do the things that you wouldn't normally do, you know, hold off on doing things. Really, really kind of watch what's going on around you and how they have this kind of all set up in place. You know, if people are walking, they want you to walk down a certain path, they need you to take a certain street, they need you to be the certain side of the pavement. It's so fucking desperate. It's like total control, you know. It's like minute control, you know. It all kind of goes back to narcissism. It's like the narcissist needs to control every kind of minuscule bit of your life. These people need to control every minuscule bit of society. They need to control where it is that you go, just down to the fact of walking on the left or the right of the pavement. They have to have that total control of what you do, you know. So just, yeah, I would say don't take the decisions. You see the marching, do the marching quite a lot. Fucking clown. Anyway, don't take the decisions that you would ordinarily take, you know. Kind of try and think before you act. Anyway, God bless. Lots of love. Bye bye.